over to Coach to.
Well, welcome back. We got an early start to spring this year. A lot of good things about that. It's great to be back on the field with the players. It's been really energizing and invigorating having some of the new faces that we have around, the coaching staff and on the team. There's going to be a lot of hard work and a lot of good things happening, but there's a lot of work left to do. A lot of pieces don't make a good team. You got to bring those pieces together and make a good team, and we have a long way to go in that regard. But it's been a lot of fun being around the guys again, and they were really anxious to get started. So it was a good start to spring.
Questions?
How do you work out the reps at quarterback when you want to open competition and all that? How does that start off for you?
Well, just get as many reps as we can is number one, and we're splitting teams. We had 2 teamworks going every time, so it doubles the reps, and we're a little short at a couple positions, but we need to keep doing that for some of the positions with a lot of guys to make sure everybody gets the reps they need.
What are your expectations in terms of cleanliness for the offense in the early stages?
I hope they're all washing their hands. That's a good way to fight the pandemic. And we got some guys that don't even shower after practice. So.
You know what I mean.
Who took the first snap?
I'll answer Sip's
Okay,
question.
that's good.
Thank you.
There was some sloppy out there, and it wasn't all on the field. We got some new coaches that need to learn where to go for each period and how we do things in practice. We're marrying a lot of things, and guys got to get familiar with things. You got to get familiar with some new concepts and ideas and terms and signals and places to go in practice, and that's coaches and players alike. And that was kind of expected today, but it'll get better fast.
Who took the first snap? The one team, the quarterback-wise.
Can't tell you for sure because I haven't watched it yet, and I was with the twos today, with the young guys when we split. So I don't even know for sure.
Is there a group of quarterbacks that are with the one, like a top group?
We rotated them today, but I was down with the young guys, and Harburg was down there, and Richie was down there, and Mask was down there, and saw Logan down there, and so that there'll be a rotation, and again, it's going to be a fight.
So how is everything meshing together with the coaches, bringing in pretty much a whole new offensive style, being your first rank?
I think it's a work in progress. It's been great sitting in a room with smart guys that see the game a little different, had some different ideas, but it's amazing how much you have to go through to make sure that you're on the same page with everything. I mean, the name of every blitz and pressure that you bring, the name of every front and what we call the coverages, what we call concepts, what the signal is for the concepts, how we handle certain things in protection. There's just, to marry things together, it's a lot of work, and we've been putting in a lot of work, but I'm sure there's some stones that are still unturned that we'll get to through spring.
Casey dealt with that thumb injury, I think, over the second half of the year at Texas last year. Does he have any limitations in terms of what he can do this spring, or does he?
No, he won't be limited at all. I think he's still in the training room working with it and just getting it loosened up and feeling normal again, but it doesn't seem to affect him right now.
What kind of things do you have to overcome on the offensive line with Teddy and Turner out and finding a center? How do you hope that all comes together over these 15 practices?
We got depth at the offensive line right now, and a lot of guys that had a good first day. Obviously, we're missing 2 of hopefully our main pieces, and those guys are taking mental reps. What's great about that is we're going to get reps for a lot of other guys to try to compete and see who the guys are going to be on the field, and we got to field the best 5 guys and get them out there, but we have a long time to try to figure that out, where everybody fits and how it all comes together.
Scott, I grew up in a state where continuity in a football program was sort of held up like religion or gospel. I'm wondering how you are coming to grips with a program where continuity is not really the thing anymore, and if you're seeing some of the benefits to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges to it, obviously. But again, I can't say enough about the guys that are here, what they're demanding out of their room, what I've seen from them in recruiting already. There's a lot of things to work through with new guys, just getting familiar with each other and familiar with what the expectations are and what everybody is thinking and communication. But it's a fun challenge too. And like I said, these guys are bringing in some fresh ideas and a lot of energy, and I think it's going to benefit us.
How do you assess the value of continuity in today's landscape where, pieces are moving all over the board?
Yeah, continuity is going to be hard, especially in regards to your roster. That's just the way college football is moving, and you're going to have to do a great job as a coaching staff every year, probably plugging in some new pieces and teaching guys a lot faster, right? The days of recruiting 25 freshmen and keeping them until they're in their third year and training them and getting ready to play, it's just not quite going to be that way anymore. With some guys it is, and with some other guys you're going to have new pieces on your team in winter, maybe even in summer, and we got to do a great job as a coaching staff getting them on the same page with everybody else.
You mentioned some, working through some of the things with new coaches on the field. Did it feel any different for you? Like with the new group, is your day structured any differently than it was before?
No, I'd say the only thing, it's just great having Coach Whip here, and that gave me a chance to go down and spend some more time with the defense. But we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. We're all in the field coaching, and there's 150 guys. There's plenty of people to talk to and plenty of problems to fix on the field for all of us.
What can you get done on special teams in the spring? I know that's a process building up, but what's like the goal of the 15 practices with that phase of the game?
Yeah, I thought we made some improvements last year. I think consistency, getting more guys on special teams is a big thing. We need our starters on some of the special teams units, and we need complete buy-in from everybody. I think some of the assistants are really putting a bug in guys' ear about making sure they're contributing. And Coach Bush, I was in the meeting this morning, did a great job. We started out with kickoff team today. Energy, enthusiasm, and detail were all great. So we got to keep improving on those things and keep getting more talent on the field.
Did you spend time with the defense the previous 3 years, 4 years?
Yes, but I just had to carry a lot of the load on offense, or I did, however you want to look at it, and I still expect to, but I know they're in capable hands if I need to go down and spend some time on the other side.
What are your initial impressions of the way Bill Bush is running that special teams unit?
Well, he was with us last year, and I think a lot of the improvement we made were because of him schematically. Now he's got a voice, which is great, running the meetings, and there's not two layers of communication then. And right away you could see a lot of buy-in from players and a lot of detail being coached that I think is going to make us better.
How did he help you guys improve last year on that?
He was able to help us off the field and maybe get ahead and scout and give us some schematic ideas.
Coach, what are some day one things that you've done to kind of put the winning mentality in this team? Because we obviously know fourth quarters last year were a struggle for this team, especially on offense.
I'm really impressed with the leadership that we got right now. Garrett Nelson's done an unbelievable job on defense throughout all winter conditioning. Really impressed with even the new guys and just the energy they're bringing and the look in their eye to be great on the field. And I'm not saying we didn't have that. Some of these guys just seem to really have that. And I want to be on the field with a bunch of competitors that when they have a chance to make a play when it matters, they're going to make it. And some of these guys certainly give you that impression. I haven't seen them in those situations yet here at Nebraska, but certainly impressed with the energy and leadership we're getting right away.
Scott, it's challenging for a new guy to come in and be a leader. So is it challenging for the new quarterbacks to come in and have the guys follow right away?
Yes and no. Those guys have been studying hard, and I think they're very knowledgeable about what guys are supposed to be doing. The guys that are here and the new guys have all played enough football to know what the expectations are and what works and what doesn't. And they're doing a really good job of holding people accountable and bringing energy that other people are following. And you don't have to be front and center all the time, particularly if you're new, to be a good leader. There's ways to do it without being front and center. And eventually, whoever the quarterback is, we're going to want to be one of the main guys. And I think we got several that are ready to do that.
You mentioned Garrett Nelson doing an unbelievable job leading on the defensive side. Is there anybody you want to single out on offense?
I think that's a work in progress too. We got a lot of new pieces on offense. I maybe would comment on Alante Brown. He's had a really good offseason, and He really has a voice in the wide receiver room that we've needed, and I hope he keeps coming on the way that he has, because we're seeing some good things from him.
You have over 15 scholarship newcomers here for spring. I mean, do you feel like this is the new norm where you're going to have this many new guys coming in every spring compared to maybe what it used to be?
Yeah, time will tell, but I would guess so. Yeah. I think that's just happening across the board, that, teams just aren't taking full recruiting classes of high school kids and looking for other ways to improve the team. And again, that's going to be a lot of work for the coaches to make sure that you get new guys up to speed on X's and O's and scheme and terminology and everything else. And I think we're probably going to need to be ready to do that every year.
Nick Harris said that there was more downhill running. That's what he said. Is the run game significantly different than last season? Whose run game is it?
No. If he noticed a difference, I think it's probably a compliment to the guys up front and the guys coaching the guys up front. The schemes weren't different. Hopefully they felt a little different to the defense.
Does Coach Whipple bring in like his own sort of run scheme, or was it the same as yours? Or,
Pretty much the same as what we've been doing. He certainly has ideas and will bring a lot to the table, but I think for the most part, what we did today is consistent with what we've done before.
About a month ago, you mentioned some guys that were out. Is Casey Rogers available? I know he got kind of teamed up in that Iowa game at the end. Is he all right, or are there any other guys that are out?
Yeah, I didn't bring my list. Obviously, Travis Vokalek won't be back until summer. Casey will probably miss most or to all of the spring. Luke Reimer had another procedure, and he could be back later in spring, but probably be summer. I hate listing them because we're missing quite a few guys that we're expecting to help us next year, and a couple up front on the offensive line. And again, we miss those guys, but the positive side of that is there's a lot of other guys getting reps that we need to develop.
Coach talked about how you really haven't singled out too many people on offense in the league. How much of that correlates with having a new coaching staff and learning to come out?
I don't think much. We just need guys to step forward, and we certainly have a lot of guys capable of doing that. Some of them are young, but we need guys to step into those roles and take advantage of that.
Scott, you mentioned Alante. I'm just curious, what's your sense of what you have in the receiver room and what they have to do this spring?
We got a lot of guys in the receiver room, and they're not getting away with much right now with Mickey in there. So they know the expectations and the standards, and they know there's going to be a lot of competition in the room because we got a lot of guys on a lot of depth. Today was day one. They're going to have 15 practices this spring and a bunch of time over summer and fall to try to battle it out to see who the main guys are going to be, and they're off to a good start.
Those transfer offensive linemen that you've got, Hunter Anthony and Kevin Williams, are those guys that you'd like to sort of put in a spot and let them compete for a job, or because they both played multiple positions in previous stops?
Yeah, and I think they both probably could. Coming in and learning stuff new, we're going to try to leave them in one place during the spring if we can. But I think both are capable of playing guard and tackle.
You have a guy who's actually moved to the center spot, or are you just trying people out there right now?
It's TBD again. I think we have a lot of guys that can do that. Trent Hickson was playing there today. Ethan Piper was playing there today. I think Turner, when he comes back, could play there. So there's a bunch of options, and when the dust all settles, we'll get our best 5 guys on the field.
With the way Nori played last year, the transfers, you're talking about right side guard and tackle with Williams and Anthony?
One was on the right, one was left today.
How's your role with special teams changed this year, if at all?
Not really at all. I was involved with it last year too. I think I'll have a little more time with some more help on offense. It's going to be great. I wasn't much of an NFL player, so I had to make my living on special teams, and got to know it pretty intimately. And if there's some things that I can help with, I'm certainly going to be able to have more time to do that.
What's the advantage of a head coach being a little more involved in special teams?
I think if the head coach cares about special teams, the rest of the team sees the importance, and you get buy-in from everybody. And we're certainly working toward that.
We have so many good ideas from so many different people, have been so many different places. What is your process for distilling that down and saying, this is what we're going to be about in the spring? How do you go about sorting those ideas and prioritizing?
You know, we want to be a little simple this spring. We didn't have trouble last year creating big plays or moving the ball at times. It was being consistent at the little things when we needed it. And I think if we get good at blocking technique and running with it and throwing it and catching it, and we can change a route or we can change a run concept, and if we block with good technique, it's going to work. So we got plenty of time to get creative with a lot of smart people. Spring's really going to be about fundamentals and doing the simple things well.
Is there one or two particular fundamentals that when you look back at last year, you're like, man, if we had just done that better, you want to focus on in the spring?
You know, I don't want to single one out really, because I don't want to act like I'm pointing fingers at something that went wrong. I was really impressed today with the way the line just came off the ball. And, you know, if we can get more movement initially in the run game, I think that's going to help us a lot.
For guys who are going to be playing more special teams this year, from your experience, what adjustments do you have to make to succeed in that unit?
Well, you know, I don't want to kick a turd here, but I'm sorry, the farm terms come out sometimes. We got to punt it well, kick it well, and have some guys that are dangerous in the return game. And for the most part, I thought our coverage units did a good job last year. There's still improvement to be made. I think we got some guys that are going to be able to catch the ball and do something with it, and we got to punt it well and make our kicks. And we hopefully added some guys that are going to be able to do that, and are bringing some guys back.
Bushini is advertised, like just watching him for a couple, I'm sure you've seen him a couple of times. Is he what you were hoping to be coming in?
I actually haven't seen him yet. We were inside today and we were working on kickoff. So we can't really be on the field with the players and balls in the winter, and looking forward to seeing it, but I haven't seen it yet.
A couple guys up here mentioned Jacques as somebody who's in really good shape. You struggled with that going into the season last year, and it cost him playing time. What from your perspective, what have you seen from him, and what do you want to see overall from the running back this spring?
There's competition in that room too. Gabe Irvin's another one that we'll miss for spring. He's doing a great job trying to get back. We got Ramir back and Jock back. Brody Belt's going to take some reps back there. Anthony Grant's new to the program. I thought all those guys had a good first day, and the start of it for Jock is he's had a good off season, and he looks the part right now. So you know, we have a lot of guys that, and we're not unique, a lot of guys that need to grow up and kind of become men and become reliable pieces to our team. And I think Jock and several others are doing a good job of trying to get there.
Take a couple more, Coach.